Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing my run to Legend this morning, 5 AM. I'm up nice and early, getting Legend for the boys, and here we are, we're going to showcase the battles, have a look for everything. We get a super positive lead to start and a very negative swap, but whenever you see a Noctowl lead and a swap of this thing, you can almost bet the house that there's going to be another fighter in the back. So at this point, we shield up Altarium, and we're going to look to sweep the entire team with this thing. Anyway guys, welcome on into the video. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, and thank you very much for the support on the videos this week. Even though a lot of you guys are not really interested in Catch Cup or Master League, a lot of you guys are still checking out the videos, so a huge shout out to you guys and big thank you. Let me know in the comment section down below, were you able to hit your goals this season, and what were you aiming for? I hit Veteran and Expert a lot sooner than I did last season. However, the last couple of weeks was a little bit turbulent, and we only managed to hit it here in the last couple of days. I'm super happy to hit it nonetheless, and do let me know in the comment section down below if you were able to hit your goals and what you were aiming for. So once again in today's video, we had a lot of bad leads and a lot of difficult matchups, but I was able to overcome a lot of them, and definitely a lot of good gameplay in here. Now this thing is going to look to superpower it. I swapped straight out looking to get some damage and make sure to obviously preserve the Altaria. Now we're going to come back in with Cresselia, because I don't want them to do any sort of chip damage into Altarium. Like, I don't want it to get put into scat attack range or anything. I'd rather just eat this energy here, go for a big overfarm, eat as many moves as I want to throw, and then look to take it out. And of course they are super debuffed, so this one move will come very, very close to one-shotting them, and if not, we'll be able to take it out with the Altaria later on. It doesn't quite one-shot, the opponent swaps out, we swap it at the same time, they throw off the scat attack, and as you can see here, right, we're no longer in range. Like, if we had have came in with Altaria, that would have probably taken us out, we would have got off a Frenzy Plant or two, and that would have put us in a sort of awkward position, but because we preserve health on this, we can just farm the whole thing down, and that's good games, very well played. Altaria is just such a good Pokemon, and probably my favourite flyer in the Great League. In comes Bastiodon. What I like to do in this matchup is farm the whole way up to 10, which will give them 21 turns of energy, which is whenever they reach the first move. They reach these moves in 7 each time, and of course the Flamethrower can look to one-shot you. They can let that go. I maybe could have tried to throw the move, but I think they threw after 1, so it would have been impossible for me to throw. I could have tried to throw the Ice Punch, but I'm going to go for a slight overfarm. Now, if I wanted to, I could overfarm more, but I think I do want to keep some health on this thing. Now, I'm expecting this team to be Medicham and Victreebel. Guys, this is Catch Cup, and somebody was kind of trolling me. Shout out to Shaner. I know he was just trolling me out of good, sort of good fun, but he's saying, you know, Catch Cup Legend, or like you love Catch Cup or something. Bro, this is Open Great League, I'm telling you right now. This is just Open Great League. Can you tell me the difference? I don't see it. As far as I'm concerned, this last week has been the Medicham Cup. It's like a Medicham limited meta, which is pretty funny, but we did shit all over these Medichams today, and this team is specifically built with, of course, Sandslash, which is just a real core breaker, right? Beats the Noctowls and Lanturns people have built for the 7th time for Catch Cup. I'm trolling, alright, I'm gonna stop trolling now, but yeah, it does kill those, and of course it does well against Cresselia, which is fairly common, and it's just a nice little core breaker. And of course we just have 2 strong answers to counter users, which are fairly common here. I'm super interested to see what we get next season. The opponent's going to fire off Ice Punches, and once again with Cresselia, like, you can just farm up this thing, absolutely walls many. Like, Ice Punches are neutral, but they may as well be resisted with the amount of damage they do. We're going to get a whole farm down, and at this point we'll be able to land a Moonblast, or a Grass Knot, whatever comes in. But of course there's nothing left, because I'm not paying attention to my own gameplay, and we're going to hop into the next one. Quagsire, very negative lead. What I've decided to start doing is just insta-swap out. I've tried catching the move, but what ends up happening, they end up like leaving with a Stone Edge, which is so awkward. So what I actually like to do is shield up the first Stone Edge and try to take switch advantage here. The opponent's staying in, which is quite interesting, so I'm like, right, you don't really have a good answer to Altarium, which would make you think maybe they've got like a Dragon of their own, or maybe like a Haxorus, or some other ground type, something that's not that strong against Altarium. So at this stage, I know I can live a Stone Edge, and I'm thinking they might start baiting. They do YOLO the Stone Edge, but they cannot mudshot us down, and in comes Gliscor. Not really what I was expecting to see. I was thinking there would be something a lot weaker to Altarium. They definitely could have come in here a little bit sooner, probably. We're going to get off 2 scat attacks before they even get off a move, and I'm just desperately trying to take switch on this thing. I think it's getting to the point where, like, I can't really take switch, so I'm going to swap into my Sandslash, and I think I actually sacrifice it here. I know I do shield up the Earthquake, which is good, and I'm going to look to go for an overfarm. Can I actually farm this thing the whole way down? We're going to commit to the farm down. The opponent gets to a last second move. Is this going to be another Earthquake? It's going to be close. It's just a Night Slash, thankfully. That was getting super close, and back in comes Quagsire. Now at this point, I probably should be just going for Drill Run, I think, here. I don't think this quite one-shots it. It doesn't. That's a mistake by me there, and I'm actually allowing them to take me out. Or should I say, get the farm down. Calculated farm down here. No, but I actually really should have just thrown that move. Luckily enough, in comes Toxicroak, and they just instantly top left. Good games, very well played. Even though I misplayed that match a little bit, we were still able to take the win. And definitely from the back line, the opponent did not really have a great answer to Altaria, so that swap worked out very well for us, and In comes Haxorus, another negative lead. In comes Altaria, we're going to start ripping it to shreds. The opponent's staying in. What are you doing, pal? This is not worth it. If you're ever in this position, if you've got Haxorus, you don't stay in here to get off the move. You just swap straight out. I have two options at this point. I can either fight for switch advantage or try to farm it down with Sandslash. I'm going to see what the opponent decides to do. I decided to go for Scat Attacks here because it's the more efficient move, but we are debuffed and this is not really doing a ton of damage. Now they're going to be getting very close to, I think they're at the Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave, so I could definitely take Swap here if I wanted to. I'm not sure if going down 2 shields is necessarily the best idea, but what I decided to do here is preserve some health on Altaria. We're going to bank a little bit of energy, come into Sandslash, and basically sacrifice it here, because I wasn't sure if I'd get the farm done in time, and I knew that they'd be getting to a brine quite soon. I know Altaria just absolutely deletes Haxorus, so what I want to try and do is get a shield off the opponent, and look to basically farm it down with Altaria, and try to basically double team the back Pokemon with my 2 Pokemon. Now, instead of coming in with Altaria and getting it one shot, my switch timer is complete here, so it can come in with this thing, or it's almost complete, right? It's got 15 seconds left. Each of these moves take about 10 seconds. As you can see, they're actually swapping out to Lantern now, and what I'm going to do here is actually overfarm to 2 Grass Knots and look to try and catch a move. Now, if this is a Surf, we're in a very, very good position here, but I didn't want to throw a debuff move, and we can actually get off a Dragon Pulse on this thing, which is going to do heavy, heavy damage. 1 Grass Knot does not quite take out Lantern, so this is a really great position to be in. We've got 2 moves, and we can actually look to, I probably could have just overfarmed. I'm not sure if I see Peter got denied there, but as you can see, like 2 Thunderbolts would come pretty close to taking us out. This should basically guarantee the shield. The opponent threw energy pretty recently, and they're getting pretty low. So I think we can just basically take this out and farm down the rest of the team here. Can the opponent get to a move in time? They just about don't get to the move, which probably would have KO'd, and that's a good game, very well played. Very close match in the end. But again, you're seeing like very negative leads, and we're still able to overcome them. Bastiodon, I don't consider this to be a positive lead, to be fair, because like it does so much damage to you, but you do win that matchup. In comes Cresselia. Like we swap straight out because we don't want our only answer to Bastiodon to go down. You can hit this with neutral Grass Knots, but it just completely walls Altaria. Now, I really, really do need to fight for Switch here. I think that's one of the things, if you're making a push to Legend yourself, you really have to recognize when you have to fight for Switch. Bastiodon absolutely obliterates my Altaria. If I get that lined up, it's just game over for it. So I think what I do here is just insta-throw the move. I'm an insta-throwing Andy, as I like to say, to try and get the shield off the opponent or try and take Switch advantage. The opponent throws up a last second shield, so it looks like they're willing to fight for Switch, but I am not going to allow that to happen if possible. I think I might try to commit to the farm down. Yeah, I was actually going to throw the move, but I seen that the opponent, of course, outpaced, and at that point, I think we should be free to go for the farm down. Now, if Bastiodon comes back in, we're going to be able to fire off 2 or 3 Grass Knots, which, you know, it's kind of rough because this Pokemon's so bulky. That this is going to get a ton of farm on me. It's going to come out with a move, and it coming out with a move against like a sort of half health or like a full health Sandslash even, I can look to basically one-shot it. So this is just very, very awkward now. The fact that I won't swap actually kind of worked against me in this situation, because I get a massive, massive farm down. So maybe it would have been better for me to eat the move and just give them a slight farm. I come in with Altaria expecting them to hopefully insta-throw. They do not. I feel like this is my only win condition at this point, and then I do swap back into this. In comes Medicham, and that was just pretty RPS for the win, unfortunately. Bastiodon, Medi, and Azumarill. You know, that's what I'm saying, like, people are saying you hit Legend in Catch Cup, and I know it's only a joke, by the way. But isn't it funny how this is just actually Great League? We're seeing Bastiodon, Medi, and Azu in the Catch Cup. Of course, I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm just pointing out the fact that you are seeing these very sweaty Pokemon at the top. We're up to 2970 elo, and in comes a Toxapex match. Very positive lead for me, and I'm super happy to see this. I'm super grateful at the moment. I come into this thing, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing, buddy? But I'm thinking, like, you're weak to this in the lead. I get a frame drop, which is amazing. I always get those. And I think, a bit of a misplay here. I go into Cresselia, because I can look to do heavy damage with this this Grass Knot, and I've already landed like a ton of damage on them, and I'm up a shield. So I'm thinking I can look to, you know, flip swap here with this, but the opponent shields it up, and it's going to make it a little bit awkward. Looks like the opponent's going to start surfing us now, which again makes it a little bit awkward to take Switch. At the same time, if I don't take Switch, the fact they're swapping into this sort of makes you think that they're triple weak to Sandslash. So, you know, I don't necessarily have to fight for swap, but I really think that when you have this type of situation where your Sandslash dominates a Pokemon, they actually go for the catch back on this thing, so like this just kind of does my job for me. This one Drill Run does not take it out, and like if they just so happen to have like a Medicham in the back, Altaria should be in a really good position, because people don't always swap into their hard swap, right? So it could be the case that they have a Pokemon strong against this thing, and a Pokemon that's weak against it. Like, Jellicent is weak against it, but it's not like the worst match in the world. So I'm expecting to see maybe a Medicham here. It does turn out to be a Swampert. Now, with this much energy, this thing can handily deal with Swampert. Drill Run number 1 coming through. Can the opponent get to a move in time? We get off the Ice Punch just as they're getting to the Hydro Cannon, and it's basically going to seal it and deal it for us here. This is going to absolutely rip them to shreds. We come in to go for the farm down. The opponent swaps out as well. One Shadow Ball is not going to be enough, and we actually do get to the move before them somehow. They were at the move, but they were over farming, and that's going to be a good game. We're going to farm down the low health Swamp-Ass, and that's a good game well played. Very interesting team. Poison, double water. I guess the Poison is in the lead for like any sort of Trevenant, but like it's not an amazing lead. It's not an amazing thing for Trevenant. We got an Oranguru lead. Oranguru is so interesting. It resists Shadow Claws because even though it's a Psychic type, this is still single resisted. It's double resisted normal versus Ghost. We do a lot of damage with this thing, and I'm thinking like I just don't even know what to do with this thing. It does very well against my Cresselia probably, because of course it can no foul play. My Cresselia or my Altaria is probably fine, but if I can deal with this thing and get it very, very low, I will. I decide to swap out. They swap out at the same time, and they swap into Haxorus, and they're just getting absolutely obliterated. This thing has bad IVs, because you've seen the last one. Didn't quite get destroyed as much, but this thing just got absolutely deleted out of the game. This thing got its game files deleted, and we're going to hop into the next one. So we're having a very positive set. We're in 2970, having a really good set. All we really need to do is win a couple more matches, and we're going to get Legend. We were in 2970. All I really need to do is go pretty positive, and I should be in a very good spot to hit Legend here. It's taking a while to find a battle. That's how it's getting here. We've got the Free Spirit here. 30-41 elo. So we've got a Sandslash mirror match. Let's see how this goes. Now, 9 out of 10 times I'll call the bait here, but when you get to Legend or getting very close to it, you start getting scared. Do I make the call here? I think I shield it and respect the move. They do go for the Drill Run, which is just like any other time I would have lost this match instantly. I just realized with this team, like, this is my only answer to this. So if I lose this Pokemon here, I've just lost the match. I'm going for the overfarm because I know I lose CMP. The opponent overfarms and CMPs me anyway, which is quite annoying. I'm going to respect the damage. It is an Ice Punch, and we're going to YOLO off the Drill Run. Now, I'm in a position here where we're both going to be down shields, and the opponent's going to outpace. So I decided to try and go for a catch on Altaria. Now, lucky enough, the opponent swaps out, which is definitely very lucky. If they had have just Ice Punched me, I was screwed. We're going to go for the Sky Attack. The opponent wanted to save their energy, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got an idea how I can actually win this match. We're going to see what we do. We know that they win CMP on us, and it's looking very, very tough. The opponent looks to almost one-shot it with Ice Beam, and yeah, I've got a plan in mind, but we'll see if it works out. We're going to obviously come in here with Cresselia in a second, and look to try and build up, I think, back-to-back Grass Knots here. I need to come out of here with some energy. The Sandslash cannot one-shot me, but it's going to do so much damage with Drill Run, and the opponent's going to get off probably 1 or 2 player offs on me. So this is just looking to be in a super tough position. I'm going to farm up till back-to-back and look to try and get off a move on Sandslash. Now, if the opponent comes in and tries to go for CMP tie with me, they will definitely win it, but it will force them to throw energy at the very least, and that could put us in a position to maybe hopefully sweep it with Sandslash. It's going to be very, very tough. Now, what I do is insta-throw Andy this move. In comes Cresselia. Now, at this point, I got a new plan in my head. I'm like, right, I know what I'm going to have to do here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do one Shadow Claw and then throw the move. It takes them 1 turn to swap in, and I was predicting this. So it actually felt so good when that pays off, because sometimes it does take that 1 turn swap, and that can put them in such a rough position where as they're swapping in, you're throwing the charge move, and that worked out absolutely perfectly. It may look like something that's just pure luck and I'm just making this up, but it is something that I was thinking about at the time. You have to try and find these obscure win conditions sometimes, and we'll see if we're even able to win it, because the opponent's going to outpace us to the move. Can we actually live this move? The opponent goes for a Grass Knot. We do live this move, and they cannot Psycho Cut us down, and we do get off the Moonblast, which will guarantee the knockout. So super, super close game. The opponent made all the right calls, all the right plays with Sandslash. Super, super awkward the whole way throughout, but we still somehow find an obscure win condition and take the match. In comes Swampert, and we're going to swap straight into Cresselia. This thing is just Swampert's worst nightmare. And again, that's why I'm thinking it's going to be so good next season. You're going to have tons of Swamperts, Quagsires, and all of these ground types, grass types, and everything hunting for Carbink. Now at this point, I decide to respect the damage, even though it is just a Hydro Cannon. I'm thinking here, if they get a super low, they're going to commit to farm downs and Hydro Cannons, so I don't want to let that happen. I want to leave myself in a position where I can probably still eat a Hydro, and we're going to threaten the one-shot twice in a row here. We've already eaten a move, and we still have a shield, so we're in a dominant position here. The Swampert cannot one-shot us, but we can one-shot them. Or of course, that was the case from Full Health. And the opponent may go for a catch here, they do not, which is great. We're looking to be able to take swap and take this out. Now at this point, I'm thinking this might be double Mudboy, so I'm hoping that my Altaria will be good in the back. They come in with Noctowl, we do get off a move, and we do have a 10% chance for a debuff. That's pretty much what I'm hoping for, but if I can get it pretty close to Ice Punch range, I'll be very, very happy here. The opponent is finally throw, because they of course don't want to get too low so that we can Ice Punch them and Sky Attack coming through. In comes Sandslash, back in comes Medicham, and yeah, we're in a very, very good spot now. In the Zero Shield scenario, this does get quite close because an Ice Punch almost one-shots the Altaria, but we're able to get off the Sky Attack. That's going to look to get them super, super low and put them into Dragon Breath down range. And even if we don't, they should be on like super low HP as you can see here. We farm them the whole way down, back in comes Noctowl. Can we get off a move on this? Doesn't really matter at this point. We have a Sandslash and we've got them down to Ice Punch range. The opponent should be seeing the writing on the wall here, and we do go for this Ice Punch to take them out. Good games, well played. A little bit more straightforward that time. We looked to basically just take switch, and that was pretty much the key to winning that match. You know, oftentimes, you know, if the opponent has a bad lead, they need to take swap, and not giving them a chance to do so will oftentimes win you the match. Once again, another very negative lead. In comes Altaria, and in comes Lickitung. I don't know this match, but it seems like a good match for Altaria, so I decide to play it out as if it is a good match that I can win. The opponent, of course, will not shield up the first one, and I don't really need to shield the first Body Slam. I'm just seeing that my Dragon Breaths are adding up so much, but I know they outpace the Body Slam, so I'm thinking there may be some chance they can win this, because Body Slam number 1 coming through, and if the opponent shields here, we'll see if they're trying to fight for switch or not, but I'm suspecting they will shield and look to go for it. Once again, like, I do not give up swap. Whenever I have a chance to realign my Sandslash on something that's not a counter user, or not, of course, a Mudboy, I will take every opportunity not to let that happen. In this situation, they're getting super, super low, so I do not want to give them a chance to get off another Body Slam by throwing a move myself. I'm going to look to take this energy back into Quagsire. In comes Gliscor, and again, like, we're going to be able to put in some really high damage here. The opponent will get a farm down, which is pretty nasty, so maybe I could have went for the Dragon Pulse. I was thinking I could maybe get off 2 moves, but I should have just YOLO'd the big move. At this point, I think I was going to need an Ice Punch no matter what, but I'm thinking here, like, they're going to look to try and one-shot my thing. I come in here to try and eat the move on Cresselia, which I'm not sure if this is really the most necessary thing, because they're going to be able to spam Night Slashes for days on this thing, and we're going to have to try and get to a Grass Knot in time. Look how super, super low they're getting us here. We do get off a Grass Knot, which thankfully does take them out, but maybe that was just a little bit unnecessary. The opponent shields it up, of course. They're going to get off yet another move, and this is starting to get a little bit awkward now. Night Slash number, 3 or 4 coming through here, and the CMP, or actually they get another move off before we even get to the next move. So maybe that was just a little bit unnecessary. Maybe I should have just let my thing go, and yeah, back in comes Quagsire. Good games well played to the opponent. I think, you know, even taking swap, it was just a little bit awkward. Gliscor, whenever they got a hidden energy on us, sometimes, like, you can take swap, but that can be the difference. Now, we're getting up to back-to-back moves here. Is this enough to take them out? The opponent does CMPS, unfortunately, and we do lose that game. I was definitely a little bit annoyed. I was like, oh, I'm so close to Legend. Just let me win that match. And we get a really positive lead here. It is Toxapex. We're going to look to make sure they don't catch, and of course try to maintain alignment here. It takes 8 poison jabs to get to a Brine, and then 7 the second time around. So we're going to try and CMP them on 8 here. We're going to fire off the Stroller Run, which will get them super, super low. And the fact the opponent's staying in here is a little bit suspicious, but I'm happy enough to play this out in the zeros for now. I may look to start shielding if the opponent shields, because I think that, of course, if they're staying in with Toxapex, they may have at least one Pokemon in the back that is weak to Sandslash. We'll see what the opponent does. They just let it go. I'm expecting a counter user. I swap straight out to Cresselia. And again, they have a Trevenant in the back. So the really missing thing here is Moonblasts are nothing to be trifled with. This will get this thing super low, and the opponent is shielded up and respect the move. The opponent is going for a really nice overfarm, and they CMPS on the second Moonblast. Really nice counting and really nice overfarming by the opponent. So I decided to let this go, just in case it's the bait. I feel like baiting might be a win condition of theirs. And at this point, I'm willing to shield up the Sandslash and try and get this super low. Seed Bomb coming through, we're going to get off the Ice Punch, and we're going to look to just basically chip this down and try to put everything else on the back of Altaria. I still have a shield here, so all I needed to do with Sandslash is get them super low like I have, and of course get their shield off them. And at this point, Altaria just comes in, goes for the farm down. I'm thinking that, yeah, I'm just going to let this move go, just to make sure that the opponent can't go for an Ice Punch here, because of course that will be quite devastating. Now I'm hoping they're not on Power Punch, they're on Ice Punch, and can we get off this move just in time? The opponent did farm, and will this actually take out Poliwrath in time? That's going to be the real question here. This thing is super bulky, it doesn't take them out. Did they get to the move in time? They just about don't, and back in comes Trevenant, and that's a good game. So it came very, very close in the end. I had to let the Shadow Ball go, because the opponent definitely would have got to an Ice Punch, which would have been a lot more threatening. And here we are, folks, we're on 29.91, we get the free 2, we get the Lickitung here, which of course we've seen in one of the previous matches, and it is starting to get bright outside. And like, it's right up to Legend, guys. 3005, and of course we do get the poses and all that kind of fun stuff. Man, super happy to get Legend. Definitely this season was a bit more stressful because I was really trying to get Legend sooner. I hit Veteran sooner, I hit Expert sooner, but between expert and legend, it was just a rough road, and definitely was a little bit frustrating along the way. I think next season, now that I've hit legend twice in a row, I'm satisfied with how good I am at the game, and I can look to focus more on making content, and of course making more fun and interesting videos with all of the new Pokemon, the newly buffed Pokemon, and generally just some interesting teams that I want to use. So we're going to see a big shift here for the new season, and I'm super excited for it. Thank you very much, guys, for all the support this season. It's very much appreciated. If you haven't yet done so, hit that like button, subscribe, and of course go ahead and let me know what you think of the video in the comments down below. Much love, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch you all tomorrow for a brand new video.